Alright, so here's something I've been noticing lately, and honestly, it feels like the entire double champ era is officially dead. Like the whole wave of fighters holding two belts at once, yeah, it's pretty much over. We're in a new era now where if you want to move up or down in weight, you're not gonna keep your original belt. The UFC isn't just letting that slide anymore. We've already seen it twice. Ilia Topuria, right after he became the featherweight champ, he had one title defense, and then he announced that he wanted to move to 155, and then boom, had to vacate the belt. And now Islam Makhachev, one of the most dominant lightweights we've ever seen, says he's going to the welterweight division, and guess what? He gotta vacate that title too. No more champ stuff. Like, no more holding up divisions. It's like the UFC is making a statement. Either defend it or move on. And I've seen a lot of people online complaining about this new trend, right? Where the UFC makes you vacate your belt if you want to move up or down in weight. And I get it. On paper, being a double champion sounds legendary. It gives you that aura, that extra layer of credibility. Like you're some untouchable force who conquered two weight classes. That's real. I'm not denying that. It does build your legacy. When you go back and look at fighters like Conor McGregor, Amanda Nunes, or Daniel Cormier, those champ moments were iconic. They made headlines. They made history. But here's where I started to lean the other way, and honestly, I'm kind of cool with the UFC putting a stop to that because I've always had two major problems with that double champ thing. First off, the moment a fighter decides to go chase the second belt, the division they're leaving behind just gets jammed up, like completely clogged up. And this ain't just about one or two guys waiting in line, it throws the entire division off track for months and sometimes even over a year. Let's say someone like a featherweight champ defends their belt twice, maybe three times, and suddenly they decide, yeah, I want to move up and go for the lightweight belt. That sounds great for their legacy. But what about the rest of the featherweights grinding their way up the ladder? Now those contenders who've been racking up wins and are right on the doorstep of a title shot suddenly have to wait. And they don't even know how long the wait's gonna be because nobody wants to be booked a title eliminator when the belt is in limbo. It's like it turns into this ego-driven trophy hunt instead of consistently defending the belt and cleaning out the division like a real dominant champ should. We've got fighters treating the belts like collectibles. And that's where it gets messy. I think the UFC finally started to recognize that the champ era, while cool for promotion and hype, just isn't suitable long term. It slows everything down, it stalls momentum, and it leaves a bunch of hungry contenders sitting on the sidelines hoping that the division moves forward. And that's the thing, man. People throw away the term double champ like it's the ultimate stamp of greatness. And don't get me wrong, it can be, but it's gotta be done the right way. That's why I've always had a ton of respect for guys like Alex Volkanovski and Daniel Cormier. They didn't just wake up one day and decide, hey, let me go chase another belt. Nah, they put in the work, they dominated their division, and then they moved up. That's how you do it. I mean, Volk ran through Murderer's Row at featherweight, Max Holloway 3 times, Ortega, TKZ. Yeah, it was 4 title defenses, but he cleaned out his weight class for a while and decided to go up and fight Islam. Like, the dude wasn't cherry picking, he cleaned house. Same thing with DC, he handled business at light heavyweight. He proved he was one of the best and then said, alright, let's take on heavyweight. These weren't guys who were skipping the lines or trying to pad their resume with hype. They earned the opportunity. That's why their decision to move up felt earned, not entitled. And honestly, I think there should be a standard. I really believe you should at least have 4 to 5 title defenses before you even have the conversation. That should be the bare minimum if you want to move up and try to become champ without giving up your belt. Like, if you're really that dominant, show it. Prove it. 4 to 5 title defenses mean you've likely cleared the top contenders in your weight class and created a legacy in that division. You're not just a belt holder, you're the guy. And then if you want to go up or down and chase that second belt, cool, let's talk about it. And okay, I get it, it's hard to juggle 2 divisions. That's exactly why I think there should be a standard in place. Most fighters who win 2 belts don't end up defending both anyways. And honestly, I understand why. Managing different weight cuts, training for 2 total different kind of opponents, staying active in both weight classes, that's a brutal ass. So yeah, I get it. It's not realistic for most fighters to pull that off long term. But that's exactly why I say if you're going to go for champ status, you better have already dominated your original division. If you've been that guy, cleared out all the top contenders, made multiple title defenses, then cool, go up and chase that second belt. And if you win, I honestly don't care if you drop the first one after that. At that point, you earned it. You've already proved that your legacy in one division and you moved up is installing anything because you already left it clean. But here's where I start getting to the real issue, and this is the part that gets overlooked way too often. When a fighters don't dominate their division but still jump the line to chase champ glory, that's when things go sideways, because what usually happens next, they win the second belt, everyone goes crazy, Dana's in the cage holding both titles, crowds going nuts, and then 6 months later, quietly little headline, so and so has officially vacated the title. Like, bro, what? You just left an entire division in the dust? And that's my problem. It's not just about what you win, it's about what you do after you win. If you grab 2 belts and immediately disappear from one division, that's not building a legacy, that's just creating chaos. You've got a contender sitting idle, fans wondering what's next, and the entire division loses momentum. No defenses, no direction. And that's why I think the UFC is finally stepping in and saying, look, enough of this. We saw it with Topuria. The guy said he wants to go to 155, and they were like, okay, boom, featherweight title gone. Same thing with Islam now. He's going up to the welterweight division. Cool, but you're dropping the lightweight title. And honestly, I like it. It forces fighters to commit. You're either defending it more or you're moving on. No more limbo, no more pretending you're going to defend both belts when we all know that's rarely ever happened, if it ever happens, besides Amanda Nunes. So yeah, if someone does come along in the future and they got like 5, 6, 7 title defenses under the belt, I could see the UFC making an exception and letting them keep their title while chasing another. But that should be earned, not expected. No shortcuts, and if you do win that second belt, great, but make it mean something. Come back, defend both, otherwise just let one of them go and keep the division moving. And another thing I want to mention is that I've been seeing this argument getting thrown around, people asking why didn't Islam keep his lightweight belt while moving to welterweight? And to be fair, that's a valid question. It's a reasonable argument to make on paper. You might think, hey, he's dominant, he's active, why not let him hold on and try to become a double champ? But when you really break it down, the answer is pretty simple. And yeah, it ruffles some feathers, but let's just say how it is. Islam didn't do enough at lightweight to justify it, in my opinion. Because let's be real here, like I mentioned earlier, this isn't a Volk or Cormier situation where they cleaned out their division and then they decided to move up. Islam's resume at lightweight is impressive, no doubt about it, but it's not complete. Yes, he technically broke the record for the most title defenses in the lightweight division, but context matters. He had 4 title defenses in total, and 2 of those were against a featherweight. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not discrediting Volk at all, because Volk is one of the best fighters on the planet, pound for pound, or at least he was at that time, but those aren't wins over lightweight contenders. That's a featherweight moving up. That's cross-divisional legacy building, which is cool, sure, but it's not the same as cleaning out your own division. And yeah, the Dustin Poirier win was solid. I give him full credit for that. That's a legit top 5 lightweight, a guy with deep experience and dangerous finishing ability. But outside of that, his last defense was against Moicano on short notice. And to be fair, that wasn't Islam's fault. He was supposed to fight Arman Tsarukyan, which would have been a much bigger test. But Arman pulled out and the UFC needed someone to step in. So Moicano got the call and Islam handled business. But even still, you look at what's left on the table. Arman is still out there, a potential fight with Topuria, a Charles Oliveira rematch, even a Paddy fight if it's built up right. Gaethje's still floating around there. Gamrot too. Now, I'm not saying all those are blockbuster fights, but that means something in terms of legacy. These aren't the matchups that define a dominant reign, not just defending the belt against whoever's available. And that's where the problem lies. I'm not saying Islam isn't elite, he absolutely is, but the reign felt unfinished. It didn't feel like we got a full story of his dominance at 155, and because of that, when he moves up and vacates the belt, it doesn't hit the same. It's not like GSP walking after all those years of defending against killers. It's more like, alright, cool streak, but what if leaves the question. And that's the last thing you want to attach your legacy run with. And again, I'll die on this hill. Legacy isn't about how many belts you collect. It's about what you do with the one that you have. Longevity, defenses, kill off every contender in sight until there's no one left, that's greatness. That's the stamp that no one can question. We've seen the difference. You think of guys like Anderson Silva, who defended the middleweight strap 10 times, Demetrius Johnson 11, John Jones a decade of running 205 before even stepping away. Nobody remembers those guys for having 2 belts. They remember the era. They remember the dominance. That's what holds weight over time. So yeah, Islam's great, but he didn't hit that point. Not yet, and because of that, I'm actually glad that the UFC didn't give him the double champ luxury. It would have been a distraction, it would have held the division hostage. That's why the new UFC model makes sense to me. You want to move up? Fine, but if your legacy at your current weight ain't finished, you don't get to take the belt with you. Simple as that. So yeah, at the end of the day, I get the appeal of the double champion thing. I really do. It looks cool, it sells, it makes history in the moment, but when you really break it down, legacy isn't about having 2 belts at once. It's about what you do with the belt you've got. It's about sticking around, defending it, taking out every name that they throw on you, no matter what the ranking says or how risky the matchup is. And if you haven't done that, if your division still has killers waiting for your shot and questions still hanging in the air, then nah, you don't get to play both sides. You want to chase a new belt? Cool, vacate the one that you've got and keep moving. Respect to anyone who tries, but let's keep the standard high, because in this new era, hype fades, photos fades, but legacy, that's the thing that sticks on.